India Walton, who is very likely the next mayor of Buffalo, New York, is also a Democratic socialist, and during a recent discussion with New York Magazine, gave some, I think, fantastic advice to the left. So this is about communication, the ability for us to reach out to others to be able to grow our movement and grow the support of the ideas that clearly are incredibly popular, but also lack the political will to do them. So I'm going to share a bit here from the New York Magazine piece and discuss how I feel about this. So first here from the piece, they say, but Walton, as she navigates a treacherous final stretch, is less willing to take on the cultural battles of the squad, though she has campaigned on reallocating money from the police budget to social services. She appears wary of the language activists have employed, especially as Brown and his surrogates hammer her over the issue. She'd rather eschew certain jargon and practices popular with the college-educated left, arguing that working-class voters may not understand why some people might introduce themselves by stating their pronouns. Quote, I'm not that woke, Walton said with a smile. I've learned a lot over the last year, but I also believe in meeting people where they are. If you're a member of DSA or ultra-progressive, your friends are going to tend to have the same political leanings, she said. So we use certain terminology when we speak with one another which is not resonant with average working-class folks. Anyone who uses the word defund, you can never make it sound like a positive thing because you haven't taken the time to explain what that actually means, right? It doesn't mean we're going to rid ourselves of the entire police force. Walton invoked her experience as a nurse. Medical professionals have language they use with each other, but that is not how they might talk to a patient. Quote, we have industry language and we have lay language. A lot of the language that we use in progressive circles is industry language, and we have to begin using more lay language and being a lot more patient with people when they don't understand it. I think this is a fantastic point. As somebody who does this work to educate others, this is something that I often struggle with because there's a part of my audience that is a dedicated part of my audience that they watch the videos, they understand, what's going on. They are already familiar with a lot of this stuff. But I also want to be able to reach out to new audiences to educate those people, to bring them on board with these ideas. And it's harder to do that if we're always stuck using jargon without explaining it, which is why when I've discussed defund the police, every time I discuss that in my videos, I explain what that means. I explain that it means reallocating police funds. It doesn't mean eliminating the police force. So I have the ability as someone that makes videos like this to do that. But if you're just out there spitting, slogans like defund the police or whatever else that may confuse people, I think it's important to understand that that is not all that appealing to the average apolitical person. Like, people that are not tuned in to what you are discussing, slogans like that can turn them off. And this is just, a way of saying we have to be able to communicate with those outside of our circles. And this is also, by the way, how you win elections. I mean, India Walton upset a Byron Brown in a massive upset in the Democratic primary. Byron Brown, a staple in Buffalo as the mayor there for years. And here, India Walton was able to bring a working class coalition together to uproot him. Now, they continue fighting her and are trying to prevent her from winning, but she is the Democratic nominee. She is in a Democratic city and has the support of the working class behind her. And you have to understand, when you see successes like that, figure out what they're doing right. Figure out how they were able to get to where they are. And clearly communication is a massive piece of this. So just be aware, if you are trying to reach out to a different audience, understand how your language may sound to those that aren't part of your circle, that aren't already knowledgeable on what you're discussing, and be able to explain what you mean when you say certain things. So if you want to say defund the police, fine, but be able to explain that on the spot. Otherwise, reallocate police funds to social services isn't all that tough to say instead. But I know that's one example, but we have to understand how our language is seen by others and be able at all times. The whole point here is to get our message out, is to grow the movement. And you don't grow the movement by just staying in your clique. You have to be able to communicate with those outside of your circle.